So how good do you think you are at picking winners when it comes to buying coins? Stay with me and we're going to tear apart this subject and see if we can narrow the odds. If you've been shopping on the Royal Mint website recently and tried to work out what the best coins to buy are, you're probably hopelessly confused, and maybe you recognise this.
This could be the start of something. What if £200 turns into real wealth?
But what if I choose the wrong coin and the value disappears the second I buy it?
I need to be smart. Which choice will truly keep my £200 safe?
Take a quick look over some of the collector forums and you'll see everything from Wonka bars through to bars with the Queen's beasts on them. How do you know what to buy and which one is a good bet? What we're going to do first is talk about some of the fundamentals and try and understand the differences between coins that are targeted at collectors and coins which are targeted at investors. And after that, we're going to take a look at some of the coins that have been winners and then try and work out what was it about them that made them winners, and maybe that will apply in the future, and maybe that's something that you can then put into action yourself and buy something which is going to be a good investment, whether or not it is a collector's coin specifically or whether it's actually an investor's coin. So here goes.
Collector coins are for hobbyists, people who buy for passion, story, and display.
Investment coins are for those who want their money to hold value.
Yes, you can collect for passion and invest for protection. The key is knowing the difference.
If you look at the Royal Mint website, you'll see there's two completely separate sections. One is for collectors, the other is for investors. Fundamentally, the difference is that investment coins tend to be much more closely related to the bullion value of the coin. So in the investors section, you'll find bars, you'll find coins, sovereigns, Britannias, special editions with the Queen beast on it, and they will all be fairly related to the spot value of those coins. And a lot of the items that are targeted for investors have no mintage limits. That keeps the prices down as low as possible. Increasingly, there are some items that are made that blur the distinction between a collector item and an investor item. And you'll see bars that have a very limited mintage, special editions of bullion coins that have a limited mintage. That is becoming more and more an option for you. I ran my first auction live stream on the Whatnot platform last Sunday and it went really well. I am going live again on October the 16th at 8 p.m. and if you want to join me, you would be most welcome. If you want to try the platform out, there's a QR code on the screen. Click on that and you will get £10 credit from your first purchase. So it's definitely worthwhile seeing what the platform can offer, have a go and buy something just to test out whether or not you like using Whatnot. So how about collector coins? Well, typically collector coins have a higher cost for the amount of precious metal content. They have much more limited mintages or some limited mintage, so they have a supposed rarity value as well. They have higher standards of production quite often. So a proof coin is a much higher standard of production than a bullion coin. And quite often they'll come in a fancy wooden box with a certificate of authenticity. And generally there'll be other things that are attributes for that product that are seeking to increase value to the consumer. If you ask the Royal Mint, like I did once, about who they're targeting at these particular different items. They will actually tell you that collector coins are not really targeted as investors' pieces. They might be targeting a grandfather who wants to buy a keepsake to give to a grandchild. Could be somebody who loves Star Wars. Could be somebody who used to play Monopoly as a kid, a Gruffalo fan, a Snowman fan. There's quite a lot of novelty coins that aren't really 100% targeted at investors, and probably a lot of the time have a very limited investment potential. So what I'd really like to do in the rest of this video is show you a few of the coins that the Royal Mint have produced that have been targeted at collectors, but which have proved to be good investments as well. And by taking a look at those, you'll be able to take a look and see what made the difference, and maybe learn a little bit about how to pick the right products to keep as much as possible of the value and the pounds that you spend on these quite expensive items. So where's our starting point going to be? And it has to be the Kew Gardens coin. And you can see here so many of these have been graded by collectors. What happened? How did this become a rare collector's item? Well, it wasn't particularly a rare collector's item for its initial few years, until the Royal Mint decided to say that the circulation version of this coin was one of the rarest circulation coins ever minted. Well, as soon as that news came out, there was a run on every Kew Garden, no matter what. So started off with the circulation coins being hoarded and then going for more and more money. Then the proof packs were raided. The gold Kew Gardens, which you can see here, isn't particularly rare, but these coins go for like 3 times the value of a regular gold 50p simply because of the Kew Gardens design on them. I think that social media has expanded on how quickly these kind of things happen in the collector's world. When a few years ago the Queen's Beast series was released, everybody loved them. Collectors loved them. They loved each individual beast that came out was collected. At the end of the series, the Royal Mint decided to put all of the different beasts on one coin, and collectors went mad for them. This was hailed as one of the best designed coins the Royal Mint had ever made. Look, you and I know it's only a coin, but even today, a few years later, the completer coin for the Queen's Beast range, they change hands at 2 to 3 times what a regular low run-of-the-mill 2-ounce coin would be. If you're still after a low-cost entry point to have your own completer coin, then take a look at the bullion version, which is right here, because it's still relatively affordable. We're now going to take a little stroll through some of the highlights of the last few years, the coins which have made it, the coins where people have bought them from the Royal Mint and been very, very happy with their purchases and got something which has a worthwhile premium even over the Royal Mint selling price. Starting with this fabulous 5 sovereign piece from this year, 2025, last year's sovereign, beautiful shield design. Only 500 of these coins were minted compared to a regular 750, and that means that collectors still have a shortage of these coins, and they are holding their premium and potentially increasing over the years in the secondary market. There are some coins like this one the Royal Mint have made which are very difficult to get hold of, and each of these coins has got its own story. They minted 25 only of these matte proof Britannias, lovely Britannia design. It's not sandblasted in the way that kind of one of the regular matte coins might be. It's got a special finish, a highly technical special finish to create a matte proof. Only 25 of these coins. None have come onto the market yet that I know of, so we don't know what the premium on these coins is going to be. The next example of a success story is also a very, very controversial coin. This coin was only available from sealed bids. You had to put in a bid for a set of these coins. It's a matte-proof version of the 2023 Sovereign. Very, very, very low mintage, and only collectors who bid the most got them. But there was a little bit of controversy around the sealed bid process, which brought the mint into a little bit of disrepute at the time questions were asked. The last 5 Sovereign gold piece that came onto the market sold for around about £19,000 for 1.17 ounces of gold. One of the loveliest coins that was bought out during the Platinum Jubilee celebrations was the £5 gold piece, and as well as that regular proof, there was this coin. This one is the very, very special, very limited mintage matte proof of the same coin. This was available to certain good customers of the mint, and I haven't seen one of these sell over the last couple of months, but they have sold for a significant premium over their mint price. So that was, in hindsight, a very good one to pick up. If you know, you'll know that this coin is extremely special. 75 coin sets were produced in pied fort. Pied fort means double thickness. These have plain rims compared to the normal grained rims, and they are not strictly speaking coins because they didn't get produced by royal proclamation. So they're in essence kind of jewellery and not really legal tender, but very, very highly desirable. And any coin in this range, even the tiny little quarter sovereign, goes for a massive premium over the regular item. So that brings us very nicely onto Una and the Lion. The silver Una and the Lion, minted in 2019, represents the very, very famous Una and the Lion scene that was on the 1839 specimen 5 Sovereign piece. Those change hands for £250,000, but for a mere £185 at the time you could buy one of these, the Great Engravers #1 Una and the Lion. Very few of these achieved an MS70 or a PF70 grade. If you're lucky enough to have one in that grade, they are still, even now, a £3,500 coin, highly desirable. But even more desirable is this coin here. This is the 2 ounce gold proof coin. This coin was £3,995 to buy from the mint, almost £4,000. 225 of these were minted. This was the first in the range. The mint didn't know whether they were taking a big chance, whether they'd sell out, but it came out just before COVID, and just after COVID, the coin market started to go nuts. For a lot of coins that went nuts in the coin market, their premium disappeared as easily as it came. However, the Una and the Lion gold coin, its premium has risen and stayed. It is quite a spectacular coin. Very, very lovely coin. At its peak, these probably fetched about 80 or more £1,000 in Japan. One of these sold a week ago for about 78,000 in the UK, including buyer's premium. That's £78,000 for 2 ounces of gold. If you'd have managed to buy one of these back in 2019 and kept it, then you would have been absolutely laughing all the way to the bank. A lot of people saw what happened with the pricing of the Una and the Lion, and they went madly after the next in the series of great engravers. The Royal Mint realised they needed to produce more coins. They buzzed the mintage up from 225 to 335, including a couple of extras. They all sold out immediately, as you might imagine. The Mint charged a little bit more money for them. Gold was going up a little bit. It's again fabulous classical coin, reminiscent of the Canova statue, the Three Graces. Very, very lovely coin. Even now in 2025, you can't really buy one of these in PF70 in an NGC slab for under about 12 to 14,000, and I suspect that price is probably going to harden and rise because this one is almost as desirable as the Una and the Lion coin. I think it's particularly lovely. There were actually some silver versions of this at the time as pattern coins. Those do fetch a small fortune on the auction market, but if you want something which is a very nice modern version of this coin, go after one of these if you have the money, if you want to spend it. But also the silver coin has also kept its value. That changes hands for between 500 and 900 pounds compared to about 200 at issue. I'm going to leave you with this view of the beautiful silver Three Graces coin. But do you think you're any closer to knowing what makes a winner when it comes to Royal Mint coins? I can hazard a guess. I think low mintages are important. I think that collectors having a huddle together and deciding that something has merit very early on in its life, I think is really important. And I think classicism is very important, tradition and history. Stuff that is too much of a novelty or too high a mintage is just not really going to cut it if you want something that could be an investment as well as in your collection.